Hi guys, I'm Natalie, and today I want to do a review on the Fitbit Charge HR. I purchased it in blue. I had been thinking about getting one of these for a long time just because I'd had a pedometer that I like to use just to keep track of how many steps I was doing or how many miles, just to make sure I was doing my distance every day, and that thing finally quit. And I thought, well, this would be cool. I can use this both as a watch and as a pedometer. And then this one, tracks your heart rate as well. I thought, oh, that'd be cool. And so I purchased one, and on the whole, I'm a little bit disappointed. It's comfortable, I guess, to wear, but it feels kind of bulky when you wear it. It sits up a little bit higher than my watch does. I have trouble getting my sleeves over it, and it kind of gets in the way of my coats. And so that's kind of irritating. I don't like that the screen stays blank all of the time. You do have to press the button to get the time to flash up on the screen. And when you keep flashing it, you kind of run through all your options there. Okay. So this is what the Fitbit Charge HR in blue looks like. I would say it's pretty comfortable. It's kind of big compared to the watches I usually wear. And although it sits fairly flush against your skin, I don't know how well you can see that, it's still kind of big. Most of my sleeves fit over it, but if you have a tight-fitting coat sleeve, it's definitely going to get caught on that, unfortunately. It's got a buckling clasp, which is great. It's very secure. It's not going to go anywhere. And there's a little slider here to help hold the end in place, and it has a little thing to slip in between the different little buckle holes. And it pops on periodically to give you the time. You have the option to turn that on or not. And there's a couple of different clock faces that you can go with, and you do all of that through the app on your phone. But there's a button here on the side, and you press that to see the time, and you can scroll through like your daily steps, what your current heart rate is, how far you've walked as far as in miles. I think there's a few different choices on that on the app. And then it shows you how many calories are burned today, how many sets of stairs you went up, and you can also set an alarm for any day of the week, anytime, and it just vibrates to wake you up. So it's very sleek. Well, now I'll show you the app on my Apple iPhone 6, and you can kind of get a feel for what it looks like and how you use it. It's pretty simple. So to get the Fitbit app, you just go into the App Store, type in Fitbit. It is a free app. Download it. And it'll ask you to set up an account, which you do using your email address, and you make yourself a password. And it'll show you that you have a Charge HR, and it will ask if you want to pair it with this device. And then after you pair it, it'll ask to sync it. So these are the things it shows you on the main home screen. And if you'll notice, it says today. You can go back and look at different dates to get different values on all of these things. Got your steps, your heart rate. I like to see how far I've gone in miles, how many approximate calories I burned, how many floors I've climbed. It says I have had 0 active minutes today, and that's pretty accurate. You can track your exercise, and there's options under there. It asks for your weight. This is how long it thinks I slept last night. I have not inputted any calories, but you can do a meal plan, or a food plan, and keep track of how much water you drink or whatever. It's kind of however much you want to go into it. And it asks you stuff like, do you have this on your dominant or your non-dominant wrist? You can change your clock face. I just picked a different one. I'll probably try another one to see if I like it better. You have the option of setting different alarms. It vibrates to wake you up. You can get notifications, and what's cool is you can set goals. If you want to walk, let's say 4 miles a day, you can set that in there. You can turn your heart rate monitor on or off, or on auto, which means it only uses it when you're doing exercise, I believe. And you can choose what you want the Fitbit to do when you press that little button on the side. I just have it show my clock because I use this mainly as a watch right now. There's a guide that you can look at, and it has a lot of good information for just basic uses for this. There's the option to sync it with your phone. And each one of these has options, and under its little category, you can track everything. Like today, it thinks I walked 6,000 steps. I don't know about that, because when I woke up this morning, it told me I had already walked 60 steps from my bed to the restroom. I don't think that was correct, but seems to be fairly accurate on the whole when you're actually out and about walking. And there, it was tracking my heart rate. I've got mixed feelings about whether or not the heart rate part is actually accurate. It uses a light to shine in and to look at your heart rate. Nothing's going to be as accurate as using a heart rate monitor over your chest that they keep like in the cardiologist's office, but for a very basic tool, it seems to be fairly close. You don't have to really stop and check your pulse for 30 seconds to a full minute and compare it to what this says to know for sure if you're getting where you need to get. But there's options to set like where you want your resting heart rate to be, or where you want it to be during exercise, etc. This is just sort of a look at how many miles you've gone. Calories burned. I suppose the best way to know how many is burned is by, first of all, keeping track of how many you've eaten and then how much exercise you do. Maybe looking up what calories are burned during different exercises. I'm not real sure about that because I don't keep track of that, but it just does it for me anyway. As for 12 floors, I do walk up 2 sets of stairs about 3 or 4 times a day, so that's about right. But anyway, there's just a lot of different options here. If you wanted to set up a food plan, you can. There's a lot of apps that already do that, but it's cool to have one that can sync with your Fitbit since you're trying to do maybe this kind of comprehensive health plan here. Keep track of your fluids. You can also do challenges, which is cool. Like here, goal day. Do everything you can do to reach your daily step goal. Weekend warrior. There's a lot of different ones. You can also make friends here. And maybe for some people that would help them stay motivated more. Anyway, so that's just sort of a basic look at the app. It's very easy to use. I was happy about that. It wasn't complicated. It's just sort of a very basic tool to help, and it's easy to sync. It's pretty fast, and I've been happy with it for what little I've actually done with it so far. So I just wanted to show you how you do your exercise tracking. You just hold down that button on the side until it vibrates and it shows you that little clock, and it will start timing you. And it goes blank. You have to hit the button again to see what your time is. But whenever you're done, you just hold down this until it shows you that little flag that says you've finished, and it shows you how much time has elapsed since you started doing the tracking. So that's kind of handy. I kind of wish it would stay on the screen to show you how much time has elapsed. I think that would be more helpful than making it disappear. I kind of wish the clock face would stay on there a little bit more too, but that's just a personal preference of mine. One thing I did want to mention is that this thing does not show you what your battery life is. That's kind of frustrating too. The only way you can see what its battery is when you plug it in to charge it. It doesn't show you on the app, doesn't show you on the phone, so there's really no indication. It says that it can last a couple of days on a charge, and I've found that to be true so far, but I like being able to see what the battery life is personally, and so that's one thing that I don't like about this. It's pretty easy to wash. I just use a damp washcloth. Sometimes, if it's sweaty, you get dried sweat in here and it looks kind of white, but you just take a nice clean moist washcloth, wash it off. You don't want to immerse this thing. It says it's water resistant, but they don't encourage you to wear it swimming or in the shower by any means. And I guess, it's just meant to be a little fitness guide. It's not meant to do heavy duty stuff, but anyway, just you want to be careful about that. I'm sure it's going to mess up the little sensors underneath if they get too wet. So again, be careful when you're washing that off. Do not immerse. So in conclusion, overall, I was not very happy with the Charge HR. I purposely mapped out some routes on just using Google Maps, areas I was familiar with, and I mapped out the distance in advance, and then I checked the start distance that I already had on here. And after I'd walked that set area, it wasn't accurate. It was off by quite a bit. And so that was a little bit frustrating. And I tried it more than once and it still wasn't terribly accurate. Maybe it was me, maybe it was the device, I don't know. I also had a big problem with this thing picking up my heart rate. I did exactly what the manual said. I troubleshot it. I had to reboot the thing. you know, where you plug it in the back and hold down the button while it's charging. And it just had a hard time picking up my heart rate. I had it set on the right spot on my arm, but most of the day it didn't do it. I even had a friend wear it for me for a while just to see if it was maybe just my arm. Didn't pick up hers real well either. And when it did, I was probably within 10 or 15 beats of being accurate, so it's kind of close. Again, maybe it's just me, maybe it's the device, I don't know. That was kind of irritating though. I mean, here's the whole push for this thing was that it measures your heart rate, and didn't do it very well. It's fairly comfortable to wear. I didn't like, again, that my shirt sleeves are getting caught on it, that I can't pull my coat sleeves over or it gets stuck. It's just kind of uncomfortable. It doesn't sit as nicely as some of my watches do. I don't know. On the whole, I just wasn't real thrilled with it. I like that the app that matches up with it was super easy to use, and it's not like it's very complicated to set up. On the plus side, there was that. But for $149, I wouldn't buy it. There's a lot of other things I could do with $149, but this would not be, I would not invest in this a second time. There's probably better ones out there. They might be more money. There might even be other ones out there for less, but on the whole, I just wasn't super impressed. It was fun to be able to try it out. I've been wanting to try it for a long time, so I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I had the chance to fiddle around with it and just sort of see how it was. I hope that in the future they can make these a bit more accurate and a little bit more helpful because of that. But if you have one and you love it, that's awesome. I think I'll just go back to my regular old watch for now until I come along to something better. But I'm glad I tried it at the very least. So I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope it's helpful for you if you're looking to buy a Fitbit or you're wanting to give it a try. Please subscribe and stay tuned for more videos. So, $149. What else could I buy with $149? 2 pairs of shoes. 3 bags of dog food. 4 dog outfits. A bunch of ice cream. A ton of ice cream. I would really need to use the Fitbit after that, for sure.